Boy Kills World is directed by Moritz Moore and stars Bill Skarsgård, Jessica Rothe, uh, Famke Jensen, among others. And this story is set in I guess in a dystopian type of future that is, I guess, taking place on an island or some sort, where pretty much all of society is living in this, is dealing with pretty much the rich that's run by Famke Jensen's character, and it kind of has like a Hunger Games type of feel where she ends up going to pick random people out, and instead of them putting them in games like in Hunger Games, she ends up ordering random people to be killed. And pretty much it deals with a revenge story that deals with Bill Skarsgård's character that grows up who wants to go after Famke Jensen. And I'll leave it there because there's some other stuff in the film as it goes along, but it is a pretty much a very, coherent, pretty point A to point B story that goes along with that. And so, now here's a little backstory. Now, this movie, I was actually not really hearing much about it until probably about a month or so ago when I was starting to get the trailers for it. And looking from the trailers, it looked like it was one of those movies that kind of has that kind of John Wick style approach where it's taking a lot of, fight scenes and stuff, and having Bill Skarsgård releasing two films this year that are dealing with pretty much a revenge type plot, because the other one that he has, which funny enough is actually going to be him starring The Crow, and I'm not really looking forward to that one. But with this one, I kind of had open-minded, but I also kind of thought it would just be your typical standard revenge type of thriller that goes along, kind of similar to what we had with last year with that one with Joe Kinnaman called Silent Night, which I actually did like, but I still felt like it did have its kind of standard fare of, being from point A to point B. And so I didn't really think much of it going into this one, but after upon seeing it, I can honestly say that this was quite a surprise. This movie was a fucking blast. I haven't seen a movie that's been this insane in such probably a long time. The way that it deals with a mixture of really good humor, dark humor, and also really goes in with that kind of like fun vibe. It was definitely giving me vibes of similar to Crank, and also if you combine the essence of the fight scenes from the Raid movies. Maybe not as great as those, but on that similar level on how brutal they can be and how very, choreographed and well maintained they can be at times. And I'll get to that later because there's a certain actor in this film that is in the film, and if you know what I'm talking about, he played Mad Dog in the original in the Raid Redemption. So I already, to get my pros out of the way, I thought the cast in this were all fantastic. Bill Skarsgård I've always enjoyed as an actor, and here he gets to really shine with taking a different type of approach where he's playing a deaf guy and he can't talk, but his inner voice is voiced by H. John Benjamin, who I do really like as a voice actor. I thought that he really pulled it off in playing his inner monologue and stuff. And the way that he was able to, be his sitting on it, giving his thoughts and everything, the way he sees stuff and all that, and he was cracking me up quite a lot. The way the humor plays out with his voice throughout the film, and I've always enjoyed the guy in other works that he's voiced, especially in home movies. And from what I've seen of Archer, I really enjoy him in that. So the guy is definitely talented. I'm glad they picked his voice to play Bill Skarsgård's inner thoughts, and so he was great. And then the rest of the cast are also great too. Jessica Rothe, I've really become enjoying her as an actress, especially coming off of the Happy Death Day movies. And here, it's really interesting to see her in shape because it really showed that like she put a lot of physical prowess into getting into this kind of role where she's doing a lot of fight scenes and stuff, and she really shines in that regard. And you also got Famke Jensen, who I've always enjoyed as an actress, especially in her earlier stuff, like with the X-Men movies and some of her earlier works like Deep Rising and stuff like that. So she was great. One of the other biggest surprises was Brett Gelman in this, because I thought he was definitely the most biggest laugh out. He gave me some of the most biggest laughs throughout the movie. The way that he nonchalantly is kind of going along with some of the shit that's taking place, because the movie kind of has like this, I guess you could say kind of self-awareness that it's going for, where it's like it knows that it's this kind of plot. The way the violence is all mixed in with the humor is insane. And just the way that Brett goes along with it, with his character, I thought really worked. And, I've always enjoyed the guy on Stranger Things and other stuff. And here, him playing pretty much like the brother of one of the other family members that Bill Skarsgård goes after, he was cracking me up quite a bit. And he was a blast to watch. The other biggest surprise was the guy that played Mad Dog from the Raid Redemption. Jahan Ruhian, I apologize if I can't get his name right, but he was really great in this, and it's great that he was able to showcase a lot of his fight scenes and like similar to the Raid. Maybe not as greatly choreographed as that one, but still on that similar, but still on a really good vibe, because this guy really knows his way with like fighting and stuff. And much like Iko from that movie, I'm glad to see that he's getting more roles like this, because I really enjoy him as an actor. And then what can I say? The action in this was just so like brutal and very, you know, fast paced and stuff. And I like how it also mixes a lot of parkour in sequences where you got Bill Skarsgård having to pretty much go through places back and forth and having to jump over stuff a lot. It's definitely gives you that kind of video game momentum that a lot of what Crank was also going through as well. And it's like the movie is just hyped up on speed a lot, because it's taking itself but not trying to go on that very shaky kind of level at times, because it really knows how to pull back and show you what the action's going on and stuff. And when the fight scenes go on, they really don't hold any bars. You're seeing bones breaking, and you're seeing a lot of gore that's just like something that you would probably see in some of those grindhouse type of movies in a good way, or something that, and I mean this as a compliment, this is definitely what S. Craig Zoller would do if he was going for a more type of video game type of level. I could really see that working with his kind of level in this, as far as the brutality, because this movie gets like it. You think it stops there? It keeps going and going, especially when it gets to its final climax that I won't spoil. But talk about one of the most brutalist fight scenes I've seen in probably a long time. Like this, my jaw was dropping, and I was really almost like feeling the pain, the way that, you know, you're seeing bones breaking, bodies getting slashed, and all kinds of stuff. It is just insane. And then the way that the story plays along too, it also has some great twists and turns that happen toward the last half that I found myself actually really surprised with, and it got me. And it really showcases a lot of the journey of what Skarsgård's character is going through in this, and I gotta admit, it really it threw me off guard. Now, if I have to get into any kind of cons that do kind of hold the movie back from being great, is that the movie is fairly thinly written to where we do get to see some flashbacks involved with Skarsgård's character, but the actual world building itself, I think, could have really been done a lot better had they would have made this like a more filled in a lot more of what's going on with the world itself and why it happened and everything, and the beginnings of it, because we're pretty much just thrown in here and we get like a quick like 10-second backstory about what's happening and stuff, and pretty much that's the way the movie plays out. I appreciate that the movie's trying to go all for simplicity and stuff, but the way that it really goes along too, it seems like there's more things they really could have added with the world building. And on top of that, it does feel like vulnerability is kind of against the odds during the first half of the film, because it does seem like there were points where Skarsgård was kind of overcoming things a little too easily compared to when he was first training, when he was, you know, growing up and stuff. And I get that, you know, you want to always see your hero succeed, but it's not until they get into the third act when they finally showcase a lot more of the vulnerability for him, and I think that they really could have balanced it out more in the first half. Because there was a lot of sequences in the beginning where you could really tell that something could have probably happened to him, and the movie was kind of giving him some conveniences at time that I felt like was just to drag the plot forward. But I digress. But other than that, though, I mean, this was still such a blast. All the stuff that I really wanted to see out of this film really succeeded in that level, and one of the other biggest standouts was actually Sharlto Copley. I've really enjoyed the guy as an actor, and I'm glad to see that he was having some fun in this kind of role that he's playing and stuff, as being this kind of guy as part of the family member that gets on TV and stuff and is trying to get to all the ratings and everything. I thought he was a lot of fun, and he's not in it a whole lot, but when he is, he's definitely great to see. So, but overall, though, I still can't get enough of this movie, and it's definitely going to be one that I would definitely own whenever it comes out on Blu-ray or 4K or whatever down the road. And so with that, I'm going to give the movie an extremely high, compelling grade on the Film Freaks meter. So for those of you who have also seen Boy Kills World, let me know in the comments below what you thought about it, and thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next review. I'll see you later.